The goal is always to stay replenished and avoid burnout so that we can maintain our feminine essence and show up in our communities and for ourselves, as well as our purpose, with strength and happiness about what we're doing. We don't want to operate from a place of misery, because misery just attracts more misery, and that's not what we want. Hello my Hive tribe, it's Queenie Urbane and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing don't let yourself reach empty. As I've gotten older, I realized that people will take from you. They will take your energy. They will take your time. As long as you keep saying yes to people and you keep being a yes man, people will take no matter what. And it's up to you to set that boundary in your life to tell people, places, situations, anything that you are not able to. You don't have the capacity to show up in the way that they are usually used to or expect you to. And that is okay. People will take from you. And I've seen so many times where a woman will do service in her community, give to her family, give to her relationship, give to her friends, give everything in her in order to meet the expectations or even the standard that she created of herself, but realize that she's running on empty. So today's video is just to remind you that before you get to that ending of burnout or stress, it's up to you to say stop and be the queen of your life and let people know that you are not letting yourself reach the end of your rope anymore. Don't let yourself reach that end. Don't let yourself get to the verge of burnout. You shouldn't have to have a mental breakdown or be so stressed out to the point of being unable to manage it all, especially with the demands of work and life that is placed on a woman in general. You don't have to deal with that at all. And sometimes it takes another woman or another person letting you know that you don't have to go through that level of stress. You don't have to get to that rope to sit down. You can be the queen of your life and calm yourself. Get yourself to a level of, I don't have to deal with this, and then verbalize it to others. And if you lose people by just letting them know that, hey, I can't do this, I can't fulfill this, I can't be there for you in the way that you're used to, then lose those people. It's their loss anyway, because you shouldn't have to reach burnout in order to show up for other people. Because are other people willing to go to the level of burnout for you? Now that's something you need to ask yourself. And if you're someone who struggles with speaking up and saying no, setting boundaries, letting people know that, hey, even if I signed up for this role, even if this is something I wanted, I no longer have the capacity to continue to give to this level, or I need to take a little bit of a break. Here is my advice to you. Here is a few steps you can take in order to step up in your life and be the queen of your life, and let people know that, hey, this is my castle, and in my castle, this is not how I want things to operate anymore. I don't like how I feel. I feel drained. I don't feel happy. The things that was once bringing me joy is now bringing me misery, and it's because I am not regulating it in the way that I should. I need to have more control over the level of input that I'm putting, because it's not meeting my needs. So sorry, somebody's walking by.
That ass, bro.
So here's how you can prioritize. So one, you want to prioritize rest and relaxation. I know that it's sometimes really hard for us to stop everything that's going on and give ourselves a rest day or even a rest week. Sometimes you might even need a rest month. But it's better to operate from a place that is full than a place that is empty. As Oprah said, we want our cup to runneth over. So if your cup is not able to run over, it's because you don't have the capacity to pour. So give yourself time to rest, relax, and do nothing, or do the bare minimum. And you know what? You'll learn that life will continue without you. Whatever things you're a part of will continue to flourish without you. Whatever things that you're a part of, if your family is what's your biggest demand, it will continue without you. Maybe not to the same capacity, maybe not to the same standard, but people will figure out a way without you. Especially your job. Your job will figure out a way without you. These jobs treat you so much. These jobs treat you like you're dispendable. So realize that without being disrespectful. I don't encourage that. I don't encourage telling people to just quit their jobs because these people don't care about you. If you are a part of a healthy work environment, they probably do care about you and you probably are essential to the role. However, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So it's important for you to take time off, whether it's a vacation day, a sick day, or whatever, to rest, relax, and really sink into your need to restore. That is your best way to not only continue to be feminine, but also show up for yourself while also keeping in mind the fact that, you know, you have other roles in your life, but you have to pour into you before you can show up for those other roles. The next step you can do is to set boundaries gracefully. And I think this is very important. A lot of women are afraid to say no or to not show up somewhere, when in reality, it's draining them emotionally and physically just to be a part of this situation or to deal with this person or to be in this dynamic. So it's okay to set a boundary, and if you're afraid on if you'll lose a friendship, a dynamic, a situation, just try to do it as graceful as possible. Try to think of kind ways to get the same message across, and you'll realize that people are more receptive to what you're saying than you realize. Most people won't go fly off the handle because of the fact that you say that you can't go somewhere. Now, if it's a consistent pattern of you not being able to show up for something, that's a different conversation. But if for once in a blue moon you can't show up for something, or you just don't have the capacity, you're not in the situation, you should be able to vocalize that in a graceful way. But remember that in order for it to be graceful, you need to be able to communicate. Okay? I don't encourage you to ghost things. That's not wise. That's not smart. And that really says something about your character. And you don't want to be someone who comes off as someone who walks away from situations without really fully closing the door or addressing it properly. But I recognize that some women are afraid or don't know how to do that. So if you think of a graceful way to get the same message across, and if you don't even know how to do that, ChatGPT is your friend. Go look up your situation, get very specific on your dynamic, and say, how do I approach this in a graceful way while also setting a boundary? I know I've done that a few times, and I've always received really good feedback on how to approach the situation. So I encourage you to do that if you don't know how to do that. But regardless, make sure you're setting boundaries and try to do it in the most graceful, polite way that you can, while also being assertive. Following that, you want to make sure that your life is built off of rhythm and flows and not routine. So sometimes when we're in routine, we don't realize how a routine is not even working for us anymore. We're just so used to doing it that we're going through the motions of the habit that we have built. But in reality, the habit is no longer serving us. So sit back, rest, and now try to think of a way to flow or create a rhythm to whatever you have going on so that you can show up in your life in the way that you want to, especially for things that you really, really love. For example, my hobbies are pageantry, my hobbies are YouTube, my hobbies are public speaking, my hobbies are all of those things. So I had to realize within myself that I need to create a flow to everything versus just showing up to stuff, because just showing up to stuff was having me on the verge of burnout, managing all my hobbies as someone who loves to do a lot of different things. But if it's causing me to burn out and be stressed, it's no longer really a fun hobby. It's becoming a chore, and I don't want chores in my life because I already have mandatory chores. I want to show up to things happy and fully present so that I can really do what I aim to do and what I want to do with, happy feelings at the end of it, not feeling miserable or sad or annoyed that I had to show up there. So developing a flow was more important to me than just showing up to the stuff. So I had to step back for a second to really think of a way to mesh everything all together. And so where I'm showing up for every part of my life, but it's also conducive for me and bringing me joy. And another way to do all those things together is through my content. That allows flow in my life. So you need to think of ways that kind of brings everything all together. And if you can't think about that, again, I would utilize artificial intelligence, because that is a tool we have today to help you with that. Next, you want to really tune into your emotions. Make sure that you are checking in with yourself, because if you are on the verge of burnout, you are not going to be in the best emotional place. And the point of this video, the point of what we're talking about today, is to make sure you don't reach burnout. You don't want to reach exhaustion, and you definitely don't want to let yourself reach empty. So if you feel like you're reaching empty, it's time to really step back, pay attention to your emotions, and journal, write it out, talk to a friend, even speak out loud into a voice note or voice memo, so that you can really assess how you're feeling about everything that you have going on. Sometimes it's better to just put it out there so that you can physically look at how you're feeling, and then afterwards channel internally, okay, what are ways that I can move through these emotions? Like if you're feeling exhausted and you see on paper through your frustration of the fact that you're exhausted, you can see how much it's impacting you, and then you can step back and really realize, like, oh, okay, so I need to rest more. I need to take a break. Even if that means I don't show up to certain things, I have to do what's best for me, because no one else is questioning doing what's best for them. And remember that. Always, always remember that. Next off that, you want to really delegate and ask for help. Ask people in your life to step in if they can. I know as women, we're sometimes afraid to ask people to help us. We're supposed to be super women, but it's not the most conducive, and it's really not even feminine to always be the Superman of your life. It's okay to have somebody step in and help. It's okay to tell people that you need others to assist with what you have going on, and you'd rather do that before reaching burnout and then snapping at people, because snapping at people is like the worst way to maintain relationships. And the goal is to always nurture and have established connections with people. So instead of allowing yourself to get to the point of frustration where you're willing to ruin relationships, ask people for help. Show up and tell people what's going on. Communicate that you need more people to assist with whatever it is that you have going on, because right now you don't have the capacity. And you'll find that more people are very, very understanding to that, seriously, and will step in and help you. I think the fear of telling people that we're struggling causes us to struggle more internally than we need to. Versus if you tell people what's going on, you'll get more grace than you realize. I know that's something I had to learn, but as I've practiced now telling people how I feel, telling people what's going on, telling people like, hey, I'm really struggling right now, or I'm really tired, or I really just can't do something. People have been embracing me a lot more just by showing my vulnerability. It's okay to be vulnerable. As a woman, it's okay for us to show our emotions, especially if you can articulate it in a cohesive way that people are able to receive. Hold on. This allows people to support you and show up for you, while also communicating your needs, which will really strengthen your relationships. And that's always the goal, right? Lastly, make sure you're aligning with your spirituality. We are spiritual beings as humans on this earth, so you want to pay attention to your gut and how you feel, and really practice, whether it's through prayer, meditation, or journaling, the things that keep you grounded and centered. This will allow you to show up in your life while also keeping you balanced. Practicing your spiritual grounding will allow you to have an inner peace that no one can bring to you but your own higher power, your own self, or your God. So make sure that you are staying within that and keeping that as a focal point of your life, because life will push you in every direction. That happens so often, but it's up to you to have the power and self-control to bring it back, to bring yourself back to center, to bring yourself at peace. And you cannot let people drain you. You cannot let situations, a job, or anything take away your peace, because life is for living. You want to have a good life. We only have one. So keeping yourself at peace is so important, and most importantly, it's your job to do. No one else is going to make that their top priority for you but you. So your spiritual grounding is what will allow you to do that. In conclusion, by approaching life through grace, softness, and intention, you will be able to navigate more situations and feel more at peace, feel more happy, feel more fulfilled, without allowing yourself to reach E in order to get there. The goal is always to stay replenished and avoid burnout so that we can maintain our feminine essence and show up in our communities and for ourselves, as well as our purpose, with strength and happiness about what we're doing. We don't want to operate from a place of misery, because misery just attracts more misery, and that's not what we want. I want you to remember that as you go on with your day, your week, your month, because of the fact that you are worthy of operating from a place that doesn't have to be empty. You don't have to be someone who's drained all the time. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I cannot wait to see you on my next one. Bye.